Okay, we're jumping right into it with a really fascinating paper. It's looking at a whole new way to think about, well, how video generation models think.
Exactly. It introduces this concept called thinking with video, or TWV, and they've built a new benchmark to test it, VideoThinkBench.
VideoThinkBench, right?
Yeah, and the core question is, can models like Sora 2 actually perform complex reasoning, spatial, inductive, even textual reasoning, by generating video steps?
Okay, so let's unpack this. Finding number one. This TWV idea is being positioned as maybe a unified way for models to reason, using multiple modes, going beyond just text like chain of thought or even static images.
Right, because those older methods have limits. They're static. TWV aims for dynamic reasoning.
And finding number two. Sora 2 actually did pretty well, especially on vision stuff.
On these new eyeballing puzzles, which are vision-centric, Sora 2 got the top score, 40.2% average accuracy, using what they call major frame evaluation.
And that beat out big names like GPT-5 and Gemini 2.5 Pro.
Yep. Surpassed them on those specific visual reasoning tasks. Shows strong spatial and inductive skills.
Okay, but here's finding three, the twist, right? Sora 2 also did surprisingly well on text-based tasks.
That was the real head-scratcher. It got super high audio accuracies, like 98.9% on GSM-8K. That's a tough math benchmark.
Whoa, okay. 98.9% audio accuracy on math. That immediately makes you wonder, is the video model doing the math, or is something else going on?
Exactly. And that leads to finding 4, the explanation they landed on. When they analyzed the video systematically, Sora 2 actually struggled quite a bit to generate coherent written reasoning steps in the video itself. Only about, 14% were completely correct.
So the audio says yes, but the video showing the work is questionable.
Pretty much. The strong suspicion, backed by evidence we'll get into, is that this text performance is likely outsourced to an internal prompt rewriter model. It solves the problem first, then tells the video apart what to draw. Okay, so the reasoning isn't happening in the video generation necessarily. And the last key finding, number 5. Few-shot learning and consistency checks really boost performance.
Massively. Using few-shot examples helped, as expected, but self-consistency, like generating the video multiple times and taking a vote, that pushed accuracy way up. On one task, our connect went from 56% using just the last frame to 90% using this voting method over major frames.
90%. Wow, okay, so that's the high-level overview. Let's dig in. Why do we even need this thinking with video paradigm? We have chain of thought for text?
Well, the big limitation is static constraints. CoT is just text. Thinking with images gives you snapshots. Neither can really show dynamic processes unfolding over time, continuous change, transformations. Yeah. Think about folding paper or showing how gears mesh.
Right, an image just shows the start or the end, not the how.
Exactly. And TWV gets around that. It uses video generation to, visualize the reasoning process itself. The model can literally draw lines to solve a puzzle or show something changing shape. It feels more like how we might sketch something out. And it allows for mixing modes too, right? Like text appearing in the video.
Unified multimodal fusion. You can have text embedded right onto the video frames, like writing on a whiteboard while you explain. It's much more integrated.
So to actually test this, they built this VideoThinkBench. You said 4,149 samples. That's pretty substantial.
It is, and it's designed specifically to push these models on dynamic reasoning, not just static stuff.
How's it structured? What kinds of tasks are in there?
It's broadly split in 2. You've got the vision-centric tasks, things testing spatial reasoning, like these new eyeballing puzzles and also mazes, and inductive reasoning, like visual puzzles and the ARC-AGI2 challenge.
Okay, stuff that feel like a natural fit for video. What's the other half?
The other side is text-centric tasks. These are adapted from existing well-known benchmarks. Some are text-only problems from math or MMMU subsets. Others are multimodal reasoning tasks from benchmarks like MathVista and MMMU.
Got it. Let's zoom in on those vision-centric tasks first. This should be Sora 2's home turf, right? The ability to draw the solution unfolding over time seems like a huge advantage over models that just output a static image or text.
It definitely provides an edge, but evaluating it is tricky. Those eyeballing puzzles you mentioned, they test really precise geometric stuff, like estimating angles or centers. And grading a video answer required some new thinking.
Yeah, how do you even score that? If the model draws the right line, but then the last frame is just black, can you get it right? You need to capture the process, not just the final pixel.
Exactly. So they tried 3 evaluation methods. First was audio evaluation, just having the models say the answer. That wasn't very reliable, only about 28% accurate.
Okay. All right.
Then they tried last frame evaluation, just looking at the very final frame of the video. A bit better, 33.4%. Still not amazing.
So the breakthrough was looking across the whole video.
Pretty much. The third method, major frame evaluation. Here, they sampled 1 frame every, say, 5 frames throughout the video. Then they looked at the answers implied by all those frames and took a majority vote.
Ah, like looking for consistency over time.
Exactly. And with that method, accuracy jumped to 40.2%. It suggests that looking at the model's consistent behavior over the generation process is a much better way to judge its reasoning than just the final snapshot.
That makes a lot of sense. And where did SORA 2 really shine within these vision tasks?
It was dominant on tasks that required explicitly visualizing dynamic geometry, things like showing where rays would intersect or pinpointing the center of a circle visually. It hit 88% on ray intersection and 70% on circle center. Really impressive.
So when the task is inherently about drawing or simulating movement, it nails it.
Seems that way. Yeah. Then you have the visual puzzles, testing inductive reasoning pattern matching, symmetry, stuff like that.
Got to do there.
Pretty competently. It got 96% on 1 hexagon color pattern matching task, for example. Overall, on shape drawing tasks, its average was around 65%, which was, comparable to a strong VLM like Claude Sonnet 4.5 at about 68-69%. So it can recognize and apply visual rules.
Okay. Geometry, good. Patterns,
Yeah.
decent. What about navigating space, like in mazes?
That was interesting. It could handle standard square mazes, reasonably well solve them about 40% of the time.
Okay.
But when they switched the maze geometry to hexagons or circles, performance dropped off a cliff. 0% success rate.
Zero. Ring.
0. It just couldn't seem to generalize the pathfinding logic to non-square grids.
Huh. That suggests maybe a limitation in its abstract spatial understanding, like it learned the rules for squares, but not the general concept of navigating a constrained path.
That seems plausible.
Yeah.
It highlights kind of brittleness. Which brings us to how they tried to improve these capabilities. Few-shot learning was one angle.
Right, giving it examples, did that help?
Yeah, they tested this specifically with ARC-AGI2, which is all about figuring out abstract transformations from a few examples. And SORA 2 definitely performed better when given all the examples provided in the task versus just one. Confirmed it benefits from few-shot prompting, like most large models.
Makes sense. More context helps.
Yeah.
But you mentioned self-consistency having an even bigger impact. How does that work for video?
Well, we already saw a glimpse of it with the major frame evaluation. Just looking across frames instead of only the last one bumped accuracy on the ArcConnect puzzle from 56% to 68%. That alone filters out noise, like if the model messes up the very last frame.
Okay, so temporal consistency within one video helps. But self-consistency usually means running the whole thing multiple times, right?
Exactly. And that's where the really big jump happened. They generated the solution video 5 separate times for the ArcConnect puzzle. Then they applied the major frame evaluation to each of those 5 videos and took a majority vote across the runs.
Okay, so aggregating across multiple attempts. And the result?
Accuracy leaped from that 68% all the way to 90%.
Wow, okay. From 56% initially to 90% with consistency checks. That's huge. What does that tell us specifically about video reasoning?
It suggests that if the model genuinely understands the solution in the process, it's likely to generate a similar, temporally consistent video representation of that process repeatedly. So this multi-run consistency acts as a strong signal of the model's actual belief or confidence in the dynamic solution. It's validating the process across time and attempts.
That's a really powerful technique that, okay, methodological win. But now we have to circle back to that big mystery, the text task performance. Nearly 99% audio accuracy on GSM-8K math problems from a video model.
How?
Right. This gap, great audio answers, but much lower accuracy when trying to show the work in writing within the video, that was the red flag. It prompted them to dig deeper into how it was getting those text answers.
And they checked the actual video steps manually. They did. Figure 6 in the paper is quite revealing. They looked at cases where the final answer was correct and analyzed the written steps shown in the video. A huge chunk, over 43%, had reasoning steps that were basically unreadable or logically incorrect.
So garbage working, right answer.
Pretty much. And another roughly 30% had steps that were logically okay but had writing errors, like typos or formatting issues that made them hard to follow. Only a small fraction showed clear, correct, written steps.
But it wasn't just memorizing answers, right? They checked for that.
Correct. They did a test set leakage analysis, they took math problems and changed the specific numbers. SOAR 2's performance stayed high, indicating it was reasoning somehow, not just recalling answers it had seen in training.
Okay, so it can reason, but it can't reliably show that reasoning visually through writing in the video.
Yeah.
Which leads to the prompt rewriter hypothesis.
Exactly. The smoking gun came from comparing it to another model, WAN 2.5, where the researchers could control internal components.
What happened there?
In that WAN 2.5 study, when they deliberately disabled its internal prompt rewriter model, a component designed to pre-process input prompts the model's ability to reason on text-based tasks like GSM8K, MMLU, and MMMU just tanked. Accuracy dropped almost to 0.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty conclusive. Turn off the prompt rewriter, lose the text reasoning ability.
Precisely. So the strong inference is that SOAR 2 likely has a similar internal VLM or LLM acting as a prompt rewriter. This internal module probably solves the text-based problem first, figures out the steps,
And then basically just tells the video generation part what to draw or write. Like step 1, draw 5 plus 7. Step 2, draw 12.
That's likely what's happening. The complex reasoning seems to occur in this hidden text-based module. The video generator is then tasked with the simpler job of visually rendering those predetermined steps, rather than performing the mathematical or logical reasoning intrinsically as part of the video creation process.
So it's a bit of an illusion, a very sophisticated illusion, but still, the video model isn't the one doing the heavy lifting on the text problems.
It appears that way. But, even with that caveat, the potential of the TWV paradigm is still really compelling. For tasks where visualization is the reasoning, like those spatial puzzles, it showed genuine capability. It gives us a glimpse of models' reasoning in a more dynamic, almost human-like visual way.
Yeah, you can literally see it thinking when it draws those intersecting lines correctly, even if the math gets outsourced.
Right. And the big challenge going forward for thinking with video is exactly this. How do you ensure the video generation part itself actually learns to do the reasoning? How do you make the visualization part of the computation, not just an illustration of an answer computed elsewhere?
That seems like a fundamental training challenge. How could you even approach that?
Well, the paper suggests a couple of interesting, though maybe underexplored directions. One is using things like reinforcement learning with verifiable rewards, RLVR. You could potentially reward the model not just for the final answer, but for generating verifiably correct intermediate steps in the video.
Incentivizing the process itself.
Exactly. And another idea is about the training data. Could we convert existing large text data sets like math proofs or step-by-step instructions into dynamic video training data? Imagine feeding the model countless videos of proofs being written out on a whiteboard, step by step.
Trying to bake that textual, logical flow directly into the video modalities training.
Right, trying to build that intrinsic reasoning capability within the video model itself.
Okay, so reflecting on all this, especially the role of that hidden prompt rewriter, here's something for you, the listener, to think about. If current high performance on some tasks relies heavily on this unseen text engine, how should future video models, especially open source ones, be designed or trained differently? How can we structure things so the video generation process itself develops genuine intrinsic reasoning power, making the visualization truly the mechanism of thought, not just its recording?